Hello everyone, June here again, and for today's technique I'm going to show you how to make a quick and easy mini album. There's nothing fancy about this at all. How you decorate it with your embellishments will be up to you. This is part one for this technique, so it's the basic album, and then part two I'll show you it once it's all decorated. So for this album I've used 8-inch ivory cards, and if I didn't mention beforehand, I'm so sorry. I've used ordinary cards to make this. So I was limited with the amount I had. So with the 8-inch ivory, I reduced that to 7.5 inches for the front and the back. My pages are 6 3/4 inches. And you'll see the sitting really nice there, nice and snug, just with a little border all the way around. And I've just noticed I need to trim that, so I shall do this or do that after the video. So 6 3/4 inches, the inside pages. Now you can choose any size to suit yourself, as the format is regardless, as long as you're happy with having only 8 pages inside. I'm using paper from this collection. I showed you this last week on my Hobbycraft haul, and this is the painted flowers, some gorgeous, very vibrant, it's a very vibrant album from that. And I'll start by showing you how I did the front, the cover and the back and the spine. I've just added some black card to that. My husband very kindly used my Crop-A-Dile and put the 2 eyelets in for me. I'm going to, I think at the moment, I'm planning on putting lace on the corners of that, but you'll see that in part 2 when it's decorated. And the only mat I have done is on the front and on the back. Inside, I've left this page to show you how I put it together, and I've put these in just for the time factor, or I think the video would be far too long. All I've done is used a marker to go around the edge of the papers, which gives the impression I've got a black mat under there, so it saves your cardstock and it's a lot quicker. So all of the flaps are facing downwards. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. The album I made, or I showed maybe just over a week ago, I think it was June the 10th, that was an album using 5x7 cards on there, in there I should say, and I don't know why I'm referring to that, so I'll just crack on. Oh yes, because I didn't have all of the flaps going downwards. It doesn't matter, it's your choice. So we have, let me get some card here, we have the pockets there. You don't have to make the pockets, you can have single pages. The other thing you can do is, because these two pages are glued together, and you see the flaps are facing down, so there's a pocket on each one. But what you could do, if you didn't want a pocket, or if you did want a pocket, you could also just adhere the edges of each page together, leave the top open, and then you've got somewhere else to put your photo mats in. The papers are really lovely, and like I say, very vibrant. And there is, oops, my 8 pages. So I would also not also suggest that you do get your front and back covers put together. And what we need to do is, this is an A5, English A5 size cardstock, and that measures to the widest part. It's 5 7/8 by 8 1/4, a tad over the quarter. What you need to do on the long side of both cards is cut 2 inches off. No, you don't. We want to leave 2 inches. Forgotten the measurement there. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to mark this. We just want to leave 2 inches on one side of the card. And I don't know why I found that somewhat hard to work out. Just take a little bit more off. There we go. And this one. Any card that you remove, you would normally keep it for scraps, but with this system we're making a hinge, so your cut-offs would come in quite handy. So what we need to do next is, with your 2 shorter lengths, is glue those on together. I'm using Cosmic Shimmer Dry's clear glue. It's an excellent glue, and it would be wonderful if it didn't clog as much. I do have the stainless steel pins, I have to say, so that helps. So put these together. And as quick as anything, there's your front, spine and back. It's an excellent system. And then for the hinge, now I know that's white card and this is ivory, but I have one already made. So for the hinge, which I would do after I've made the front and back covers, so that the glue or the tape is really adhering, you need 3 pieces of card, and they'll always be the length of your cover, your outer cover. This is shorter. I'm just showing you how to do the hinge because I have one made already in white, but this is for another album. but it was just to let you see what this would look like. Okay, so we need 3 separate pieces of card. The first one is 3.5 inches by, for this, 6 3/4, and we're going to score at 3/4 of an inch on both sides. Both ends, I should say. So that's the large one. The next size is 2.5 inches by 6 3/4. Whatever the size of your album is, if you're using a 5-inch card, 6, 7, 8, 4-inch even, it's, if you're using your spare card from the whole of the album, it will always be the correct length, height of your album, so there's no cutting there. So this is 2.5 inches by 6 3/4, and you score at 1/2 inch on both ends, 1/2 inch. And then finally we have 1.5 inches, and that's scored at 1/2 inch on both ends. We'll burnish your score marks. Now, I would always use Score Pal tape for my hinges and putting an album together, but just for the time factor I use wet glue. Apart from, this is the Score Pal tape, and this is just short of the 3/4 of an inch, but I have a narrower one which fits in there perfectly. So this is the base one. Sorry, I'm doing a lot of clattering. Got a little bit overhang. And then I would put the narrower one on just on the edges. Because when you get your spine put all together, this goes under, as does this one. That's exactly 2 inches, which is the width of your spine. So with the next one, now I have to say my husband does this for me because I can neither cut straight, and obviously I can't see straight either. So if you're like me, I suggest you mark the centre, which would be 1 inch, top and bottom, and the centre in there, and marry it up that way. See, I'm way off just doing it like that. Or you could draw lines down there and align it like that. You may not have my problem. which I've decided I'll call Lapsiparism. It's quite unique. So plenty of glue if you're using wet glue, and then we'll just see what I can make of this. So we're aiming for the middle. Don't press down in case you have to wangle it a little bit. I think my husband may be pleased with that. I'm not going to press it just yet. This one, you've guessed right, goes in the centre. So we'll have some glue on there. The Score Pal tape is really marvellous. I get mine from Amazon. It's as strong can be. I think it's possibly even stronger than the Redline tape that we can get in the UK. And I always use Score Pal tape for my albums. Put that back on. So there is your hinge, and we're using 8 pages. So you see, you would take the tape off one side and imagine this is this length. You take the tape off one side, and then just before that join, tape that into place, and then your other side, when you remove the tape off there, will sit in that 2-inch gap. And then what you would do, I'm going to bring the white one in. So that's already taped. You see I've put the narrow one on the edge. So then you'd have 2 pages on that one, 2, the next 2, next 2, next 2, which gives you 8 pages. If you're wanting to put the eyelets in the spine, once you get the tape removed and the hinge in and secured, so if I just open that, ignore those, the large bits. When that's in place, that's when you'd use the crocodile to get your 2 or 1 eyelet in place. Right, whew. So we can put that to one side. Now back to the mini album. I've left these 2 to show you how I put them in place. So with your card, what you need to do, see, I've forgotten what size this is. Right, this is a 7-inch, it was a 7-inch card blank, and you need to remove 2 inches from one side, and the 2 inches that you cut off, put to one side, stack all of them, because they become your pocket. And I have to say, I find it, for this one, it was much easier just to go around the edge with a marker than putting the card on, then the paper. So that's your pocket, and like I said, I've got a pocket on all of them. What else? If, when you put them together, this is an easier way. I've made this album so all the flaps are facing inwards. So you will need your tape on the bottom, not on the flap part. That's flap, I'm saying, not flat. Not on the flap part, but on the edge of the card. And you're gluing these cards together. So, was there anything else I was going to say to you? No, I don't think so. So I shall bring the album back in again. And I did say this at the beginning, it's very vibrant. I love the colours. And the hinge is in place. It sits lovely when the pages are like that. So just make sure, if you're doing it with flaps down, that the second card, if there's a pattern to it, make sure that, for instance, this one, we have leaves growing upwards. So, you know, it wouldn't be much good doing it that way. And believe me, it happens, putting it the wrong way. Right, so I started with the back page, and I will be going round tidying the glue up, so you won't see that the next time I show it. I started with the back page, put it on the hinge, and then added the glue to the back of this card, put that page in. Did the same for these, and then that leaves us just with these two, and that's spine ready. So, and I do hope I get this straight. We'll remove the backing tape, and don't put it right on your score line or you'll struggle badly in putting the pages, turning the page over. So I'm going to have to do it this way, and if my head is in the camera, I do apologize. So just put it a little bit, place your card just a little bit above that score line, and the score pal tape, like the red line, once it latches onto something, boy, you can hardly get that beast removed. So there you are. Ooh, looking good. And then on the largest piece, I'm going to add my glue. Liberally. Remove the tape from this page. And this edge I'm going to put just before that score line. Just want to maneuver that a little bit. It was going so well. I haven't quite got it to that edge. You see what I mean? That's as straight as a dog's hind leg. And I shall give you another tip, and it's just a pity I didn't take heed myself. When you're using the tape, and I think we crafters did this many years ago, especially the strong tape, if you just rub your glue stick over it, it doesn't grab straight away. So I'll add glue to this side now. And as I said before, it doesn't matter what size album you make, it's the same principle. Cutting 2 inches off one end of the card to make a pocket. You wouldn't do that if you weren't making a pocket. My next one, I won't be doing a pocket on each one. I won't do that. And I usually, if I'm matting and layering, decrease in a 1/4 inch increment, and then you get a nice even edge. At least you should get a nice even edge. It's not always possible with me. So I'm now going to butt up from this angle. Haha, much better. And secure that in place. And there you have your 8-inch, no, 7.5-inch mini album. When I get some photo mats and what have you in here, it won't be so flexible. It's because, and this is maybe a good tip, and I'll do this in future, I wish now I had used black card under the inside covers, because it would have strengthened it even more so. But I'm happy with that. Some lovely pages. And I will be back for part 2 and let you see how I've decorated this. So once again, thank you for spending some time with me. And until the next video, take care. Happy crafting.